Welcome to another video from Cardboard East. My name's Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. Do you like JRPGs? I love JRPGs. Here are two of my favorites. I think Final Fantasy III or Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger are the two best JRPGs ever made, period. No discussion. These are instruction manuals. If you don't know what those are, man, you missed out. Now, I love JRPGs. I love everything about them. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the world building. And I've always wanted a digital JRPG condensed down into analog form. And I think Titan Heads, a Japanese publisher, has done that with Unreliable Wizard. Now, if you watched the previous video where I did a playthrough of Unreliable Wizard, it took longer than 15 minutes, but I had to talk through all my actions, I talk about what's going on in my head, and talk about some of the strategy that's going on in the game. This is just my review, so if you want to see the playthrough, check out that video, and then come back here. This is my favorite solo game. Now, there are plenty of solo games that are a lot more complicated, but they do take longer. This can be on and off the table literally in 15 minutes. You could just take this out, knock it out in the morning, like right before you go to work, or you can knock it out again during your lunch break, or right before you're going to sleep at the end of the day. And I think that's why it's my favorite. In addition, it comes in this tiny little box, which, I mean, really can't be beat. Unfortunately, the little wizard meeple, which looks fantastic, by the way, can't fit in here. But at the end of the day, it's very small and fits almost anywhere you want. Because this could literally fit in your pocket. There are tons of pocket games that say it's a pocket game, and it's not a pocket game. You can't shove an oink game in your pocket. You just can't. Okay, maybe one of the thin ones from way back in the day, but your standard oink size, no. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Whew. I really like this game. There's so much to love about this game. I love the idea that it's called Unreliable Wizard because you're just a wizard apprentice and you don't know if your spell is going to take off. Sometimes you get like this big powerful spell, you get a heal spell and you can heal yourself back up, and sometimes nothing happens, which is like in our previous game where I died right in front of the Dungeon Lord. That was not my finest moment. But I love that thrilling aspect to the game, so there's always a little bit of excitement in each battle that you do. I love the idea that every party member that comes makes your whole party together stronger, and they each have different abilities that you really wouldn't think to have, like in this tiny little card game. They can either help you traverse the land for less of a health cost, because normally as you're walking through the land, you're losing life. Maybe all these little monsters that pop up here and there, and you're just attacking. Or they can help you with the attack, but I like that flexibility there that it brings you. There are more monsters that you can fight, so every time you play the game, it's not always guaranteed that you'll see the same monsters again and again. But what's even more fascinating is that the system of how you place all the enemy cards here that lines up with your party, and you can see how strong you are versus how strong they are. And on top of that, the whole spell mechanics of trying to get the right set and the right spell at the right time. I really like the high risk, high reward. You're trying to go for the stronger spells, you can do more damage, but if you're missing a piece of that spell, like I did at that last moment, it can cost you some serious pain. And every spell you do is going to hurt you. So you have to really be careful with what you play and what you draw. Now, there is some randomness there with the luck of the draw, but there is strategy around you constructing that deck and choosing, well, if this happens, I can still attack. If this happens, it's less of attack. And there's this very odd, slight chance that I might die, which is what happened to me at the final boss. And then I love that you can even upgrade. There's a Grimoire, you start off with Grimoire 1, and then now you get Grimoire 2. And I love that there's this upgrade there. There's even a shorter version of the game where you can, instead of having a 3-card map, you can have a 2-card map, and then you fight multiple monsters. I typically don't play that as often as I do this because I like the long progression of this one. I really like the artwork. It has this nice retro 8-bit style game where it feels like you're playing an old, like, 8-bit Nintendo JRPG. Gameplay is fun and it's fast, and it comes with a very interesting way of tracking the life points of both you and the enemy. And the battles themselves feel very much like a JRPG battle, which is so interesting because normally with like JRPGs, and I brought these two out together, is that the main thing that people talk about is the battle system. Like, is the battling fun? With Final Fantasy III, they have all these different characters. They each have special abilities. With Chrono Trigger, your other two characters can combine for a special attack. X strike, X strike. And while those aspects are missing, it definitely feels like your party's working together. So when you have one enemy, it's like, oh, the paladin comes in, it's like, yes, I know his weakness, 2 damage off. Oh, the monk comes in, it's like, I know his weakness. I take 2 damage off. At the very end of the battle, the princess knows the Desert Lord's weakness, and she just takes 2 damage off, along with the hero. 1 damage off, so they're adding these extra blows to the battle. And I love that there's all these different characters that you have. There's a porcupine in there for some reason. I guess like he's the version of the bard who just, in my opinion, can just leave the party altogether. But I really love that Titan Heads was able to take a JRPG and really condense it down into 32 cards. Because what's here is really, really unique and kind of special in a way, because I've never seen anything like this. This battle system, of how he came up with this, is just totally beyond me. It blows my mind how he was able to create this. Now, if you like this game, it's not the easiest game to find, but check out my How to Buy Board Games from Japan video, and that should help you figure out what to do. And don't forget, you can always just talk to the publisher directly and say, hey, help me out, I like your game, give it to me. What's even more exciting for me is that even though I really love this game, there's an expansion, not a standalone expansion, a whole expansion, and it adds the story element to the game. And you have the traditional collect the crystals from the land. It has a great classic Final Fantasy feel. Not the crappy new Final Fantasies, but the awesome old school Final Fantasies. Yeah, the storyline of collecting the crystals as a MacGuffin was kind of blah, but it still made a compelling story, and it was great for a video game, and I can't wait to try this out. In addition to that, there are monsters in here, and the monsters stack up like you do. So now you have these heroes that kind of stack up. These monsters also stack up as well, and like you can have random monsters, and there's tons of variety in the game. So I am very excited to check this expansion out. So short of it is that artwork, it's okay. I really like it because I find it very nostalgic of the 8-bit video games back in the day. It might not be for everyone. Gameplay is pretty straightforward. It doesn't play like anything else before though, so you definitely need a lot of help. And I think I got there. I think I'm like 99. I'm confident to say that I'm 99% of the way correct. I might have gotten one thing wrong here or there, but it's just a step in progress, and I like the game that exists today. I do think that there are interesting choices here. You're making your deck every battle, and you're trying to come up with a big combo, but at the same time, even though there's a big combo that you want to succeed, you know that there's a good chance that you might fail, so you'll make sure if you do fail, that all those other options are still viable and will still do damage, or ideally, heal you. But probably the best thing of all is that, wow, the box is so small. Like, it literally fit in your pocket, and I can't just say this enough. Like, I love this. There are plenty of analog JRPGs out there, and we could definitely talk about them at a later date, but I love that one is condensed into 32 cards. And the expansion as well, it's also 32 cards, so you can have 64 cards, and it'll still be in under half an hour. But one of the things I love most about this game is the title of the game. Unreliable Wizard is such a perfect name for this game. Sometimes your spell goes off without a hitch and you do all this massive damage, enemy dies, you win, it's great, you feel all those endorphins going, but at the same time, sometimes the spell doesn't work and you really feel that you are an unreliable wizard. That sometimes it just, just doesn't work. But in your mind, it creates this epic story of, you're there, Katu, and then an army of dead comes and just wipes you out. So the cover release recommendation is, if you love 8-bit JRPGs, then this is the analog game that you have been looking for. Once again, gamers, thank you for watching. Feel free to peruse around the channel. I specialize in board games from Asia because different cultures create different games and tell different stories. And this story gets 2 thumbs up from me. See you in the next video.